This is the spot 1 year ago where Danielle Kane and her boyfriend Jerry were sitting when tragedy struck. They were enjoying their dinner and then chaos hit the Danforth. They had heard someone was hurt and went to help. That's when Danielle saw the gunman, the flash, and she was shot.
I fell to the ground. My legs had collapsed underneath me. And it took Jerry a second to realize that I had been shot, but he turned around and he helped push me back inside, and he closed the door.
The horrifying feeling is still fresh in Danielle Kane's mind. The pain of having a bullet hit her from the side and shatter her spine.
My lungs, one lung had collapsed and the other one was filling with blood, and so it felt like I had someone very heavy sitting on my chest. And actually, if anything, that was bothering me a lot more than the gunshot wound itself. I was in disbelief, you know. I was thinking, like, what? This happened to me now? Like, because I was just thinking about, I was thinking, what? Like, I think I'm a generally good person.
Danielle was one of 15 victims that horrific night, including 2 others killed. She was paralyzed, and it's been a journey of recovery since. Multiple surgeries, followed by weeks of intensive care, have led her to this point. Danielle now spends her days in therapy, trying to recover and adjust to a new way of living.
It's almost as though, as time passes, I'm getting a bigger grasp of the totality of this injury, right? Because it's not until you go to try things and move through your environment or get things done like the way you used to, it's like you realize that things are very different now. I want to say, forget this, I give up. I'm done with this, having this disability, living this way. I definitely have those moments.
And yet Danielle has managed to maintain a positive outlook. That frightful night on the Danforth has altered her life, but she'd rather look forward than look back.
Realized in that moment that I know I'm not ready to go, and that it's worth fighting, whatever life I have is worth fighting for.
While Danielle has spent the last year dealing with the emotional and physical toll surrounding what happened, she's also managed to focus on the issues surrounding the event. Later on, we'll be speaking with her about the empathy she actually has for the shooter and what she thinks needs to happen in order to prevent an event like this from happening again. She was shot, paralyzed, and is now confined to a wheelchair after the events that happened here on the Danforth 1 year ago. And yet, Danielle Kane doesn't want people to focus on her, but the person responsible for what happened with empathy.
Was it from that car?
I guess how much he was plagued by mental health issues and how it was unaddressed for so long, it kind of led him to acting out in this way. I feel like the community failed him, right? We should have supported him. This was since he was in grade 4.
Danielle Kane doesn't see the man who shot her, injured and killed others, the way you might expect. She doesn't carry any feelings of anger or hate. She believes 29-year-old FAISAL HUSSAIN was someone who needed help, that his shooting rampage on the Danforth was as a result of a long history with mental health issues, a theory supported by the police investigation carried out since.
Looking back on it now, I'm thinking how important it is for our governments to kind of take action and fill the gaps in our mental health system, because clearly, FAISAL fell through the cracks, and I'm sure there are many others.
Danielle herself says she has struggled with depression in the past and understands what it's like to be in what she says is a dark space. While she now spends her days battling through the physical pain, she wants to speak out and make change.
It's great to remember, and I do think that it's absolutely horrible what happened to those 2 girls and obviously all the other victims. But I think the more important thing is, what are we doing as a society to make sure this doesn't happen again?
Other victims and their families have since spoken up and called for more action on gun control. Danielle, too, thinks that more should be done on that front and has clearly shown the strength and resolve to support that in the year since her outlook changed forever.
Celebrating the anniversary is empty if there's no real action behind preventing this kind of thing.
Danielle and her boyfriend Jerry are actually in the midst of renovations to try and make their space more accessible. She's also going to continue with her therapy, but she's also looking into wheelchair sports and possibly returning and going back to school to continue with her nursing degree.